Welcome to the Check Swing Podcast. You all right over there?
I
Yeah.
had to get used to the new intro, and when it suddenly came on, I started choking on my water
Oh
because I
Lord.
changed the settings on my mic.
First day drinking.
Oh my goodness! Sorry.
Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast, everybody. I am Jay. That is Santa, as you can see right there. For those that are watching, if you're listening, you can't see that. But either way, welcome to the Check Swing Podcast. I hope that you are having a wonderful evening, day, night, whatever the case may be in your part of the world where you are. But things haven't changed. The way I like to start every show here on New Twist Radio, I like to start by asking whoever's with me, "How you been, Miguel? How you been?"
I have been good, man. Building up for the lead up. This is my last show in the state of Pennsylvania. As you know, we were able to sell our house and start the big move over to Maryland this week. So we're moving
Maryland or
Sunday.
South Carolina or Florida or
Ma-
Kentucky or
isn't that funny? And you were there for half of them. You're moving to Kentucky, right? We're like, what? And each one got funnier and funnier. What
yeah,
was it? Now North Carolina on Wednesday, on Tuesday.
something like that. Well, our colleague Mike came to me and said, "Hey, yeah, wait, I heard Miguel's he's moving to Florida. I think he said Florida. No, he said South Carolina.
South
He
Carolina,
said
and then
South Carolina. I'm like,
last week it was Texas and like Aruba. I'm like, you're
and
not
then
even
the
getting the
weekend it was
continental.
like Florida.
Yeah, you're not even getting the countries right. Like, my goodness.
Wherever you're going, man, it sounds like it's gonna be good weather. Like everybody's predicting pretty
It's
decent weather.
no, it's Baltimore. It's the same weather. It's the same weather as Pennsylvania.
You're about an hour and a half away, so
Yeah,
it's not too far away. But
it's
you're
not too
going to
far.
be feeling the same effects of things that we are. But yeah, congratulations on the move
Thank you,
and the
thank
new
you.
gig. All the best to you. I've already told you that, but let me tell you again on air. All the
Appreciate you.
best to you with your corner office with all the windows and stuff in it. And I think what you're gonna have a treadmill in there and like
No.
three Red Bull Oculus
I'll
headsets,
have an Olympic-sized gym, an Olympic-sized track, and I will have a view
all
of.
inside your personal office too.
No, no. I have to scan in, but yeah, I have to scan in and pay a monthly fee, but I get reimbursed pretty good.
Well, cool. Well, like I said, congratulations on that. I know you're gonna do well. It's something that you've been looking forward to for quite some time,
Appreciate it.
and it happened. So, and you
Yes, sir.
made it happen. And good looking on that. Check Swing Podcast. What do we do here? We talk sports, right? But one sport in particular, we like to talk baseball. We're coaches talking about things that coaches go through, things that coaches see, things that coaches have to deal with, things that coaches have success with. We are coaches. We've been coaching for a long time. If you saw last week's show, we had a couple other coaches on. If you've seen us over our time here on New Twist Radio, you've seen us with track coaches. You've seen us with basketball coaches. You've seen us with baseball coaches. We talk coaches, coaches talking coaches type stuff. But one thing that came about a couple weeks ago, and I think our show is kind of going to be leaning in that direction for the near future. And of course, unless we have a coach on to talk to, excuse me, um, it's the who you got segment, and it's going to be um, it's going to I think it's going to be a staple. And let me create the thing right here right now while nobody can see what I'm doing. But it's going to be a staple on the show. I think it caused so much not drama, but it gave the show so much flavor, so much excitement that there's something that we're going to have to continue with. And Miguel texted me earlier today, said I got a good one for you, and I've been chomping at the bit. I wanted to ask him all day what you got because I wanted to be able to like prepare for it, but at the same time I didn't want to prepare for it. But Miguel,
Sir.
I'm going to pick up my feet off the floor in just a second, and I want you to give me the scenario and tell me who you got.
Well, I'm gonna get a couple scenarios for you. Well, actually, this first one I actually need help with. All right. So
Okay,
since I'm moving to the great state of Maryland and I'm gonna become a Marylander, which I don't know how I quite feel about that.
a Marylander.
Maryland, yeah,
Lived
that's what
there for
they're.
like 5 years and didn't realize like that's what they're called.
You were a Marylander, and I will become a Marylander. Although my wife said no, we're from New York and Philly. I was like, all right, that works. So if I'm going to be representing Philadelphia or where I come from, I need to know what's the one or two jerseys that you think I should represent. Like what's the one like think about it from like, if we're visiting like Dallas, we're visiting New York, like they know you're from Philadelphia because of which jersey.
Well, for one, for sure, it's the Eagles jersey.
Right. So Eagles, I was like, all right, you go green, you go black, you go white, but which one would be like, you know, the one? So let's start off with
Well,
this.
okay, let's put it
Let's
this.
go each team. Let's do it by team.
Okay, so with the Eagles jersey, I have that black jersey. Actually, I had that exact jersey for a time, the Dawkins jersey.
You had
I had it. Kind of an embarrassing story for me. I had the jersey, and it was a gift, and I wore the jersey to a game. It was actually Eagles versus Buffalo a long time ago. It was a gift, but I knew that Dawkins the next season was not going to be on the team.
you didn't.
I did. I ended up getting a Westbrook jersey. And Westbrook was, I mean, let's be honest, Westbrook was my favorite player, running back. That's usually my favorite player in the team is the running back. To be honest, I just love the running back position.
But
Anyway,
what'd you do with the original? What'd you do with the Dawkins jersey?
uh, took it back to the store.
You exchanged Brian Dawkins for
Yeah,
Brian Westbrook.
yeah.
You exchanged the jersey that was retired.
It was well, no, he was still on the team at the time.
Still, but
Violation, yes, violation.
yeah.
Hall of Famer, violation. Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't think about it. See, okay, so let me explain something. I know this is not what we were talking about here, but let me explain something to you real quick. I'm a different type of guy, right? So, growing up in the '90s, everybody loved Michael Jordan. I didn't love Michael. I mean, I liked Mike, but I didn't love Mike. I
Mm.
liked David Robinson and I liked Gary Payton. Like David Robinson was one of my favorite players. Gary Payton was the guy I want to model my game after, right? Um, and then Allen Iverson came along, and it was Allen Iverson. um, but I've always loved two positions. I've always loved in football: the running back and the kick return. And the third one would be the defensive end. That's just who I am. I love Dawkins. I love Dawkins. I'm embarrassed. It's funny. I was just thinking about it today. Like I'm embarrassed that at the fact that I even gave that jersey back. Like what was I thinking? I know what I was thinking. He wasn't going to be on the team, and I don't know why I thought Westbrook was going to be on the team much longer because he wasn't. But that's the story. Okay.
Do you remember what team? Do you remember what team Brian Dawkins signed on before he retired? Because he actually
He was
was
signing
signed.
with San Francisco.
There you go, San
Yeah,
Francisco.
San Francisco before he retired. Yeah, I remember that. And Brian Dawkins' younger brother went to college right down the road from my college. So I believe we were in school at the same time for a time. Um, and we had some mutual friends. But anyway, back to your question. So the green Eagles jersey stands out
The
more
Reggie
than
one,
the white one, more than the black one. If you're looking to stand out and say this is
Philadelphia.
I'm from Philly, but you see, here's the funny thing about it. You're in Baltimore, so you're going to be in Baltimore. So it's not like you're going to be in DC and you're going to get Washington football fans mad.
Well, I mean, where we're staying, at least for the next year, will be like 30 minutes from DC. So I
Right.
mean, I mean,
I mean, you're gonna let me turn my doggone ringer off. People texting me and stuff. You're going to spend some time in the DC area, PG
right.
DC area.
So you would go Reggie, you would go green Reggie
Reggie,
White.
the green stands out. That the Kelly green stands out.
Now, what about the Sixers? Do you go Allen Iverson? I always love the black jerseys, and then
So
or would you go Dr. J, the Dr. J
two
blue?
favorite Sixers of all time. Two of my favorite Sixers of all time. Dr. J or Allen Iverson.
You were in.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about that.
Mhm,
Allen Iverson from Newport News, Virginia, went to Georgetown.
mhm.
that area loves Allen Iverson.
Right.
So you would kind of just be fitting in.
Ah,
If you're looking to stand out,
I like
Dr.
that.
J jersey stands out a little more. But also it's a throwback, so people wear throwbacks anyway. But if you're looking to stand out and make a statement about it, the Dr. J jersey
Dr.
would
J.
be more of the standout jersey
Okay.
than the Allen Iverson,
All
just
right. Two.
because of the name. That's
Gotcha. Okay. Two for
um
two. I like it. We're on the same page. So Phillies, do you go the powder blues, the Saturday night specials, or do you go the creams?
I'm laughing at McCutcheon. Like,
He's a he's
what
a
you got?
full. I love him. I love Larry. He's a plum full.
This is a tough one, right? Because I like all three of those.
I know.
I really do. I really like all three of those jerseys. I had the hat for the cream, the Sunday cream jerseys. I had that hat that goes with that.
Had?
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with it.
What the hell?
I don't know.
What is
I don't
going
know how to do it. I don't. You know what? You probably don't know. I used to have a whole lot of fitteds. I don't wear them really anymore. I,
Oh,
I
okay.
got rid of a lot of them. Somehow I just don't even know where they are. Um, I think I gave it to somebody actually. Actually, I did. I gave it to somebody. We're going to leave it at that. Um. Wow. Just so we're looking to stand out, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like the red one is not. I mean, they just started wearing that like last year, right?
Yeah, it was the 2019. It was to commemorate the when they first tried to do it in '79, and
Yeah.
they wore it one time. I think they lost like 10-0, and then they said they looked like grapefruits and wanted to burn them and throw them in the trash. I think what they should do is just keep the top portion and just go with like white or cream bottoms. You know what I mean? I think that would be a nice alternate jersey. Have the red up top, white pants,
That would
and
be
even
interesting.
like go white hat.
You don't see that much in professional baseball going with the Yankees do it, right?
No, the Yankees don't do it.
The
Mets do
Yankees
it.
don't do the dark top with the gray. Well, it was gray, not white. Um,
They've done it for like special occasions, but they pretty much stick to the tradition with the pinstripes and stuff. But they don't like sometimes they'll go like all white, no pinstripes from like it mimics like
yeah,
the jerseys from like
yeah.
the thousands or whatever.
We're talking about standing out. I'm going with the blue one,
Yeah, powder blue, 3 for 3.
powder blue, and I have to get out the way of the camera. The
Why?
Bernie Perrant, the Flyers jersey. This is an interesting one.
Do you go with the original home whites or the old
I feel like either
orange?
one of these stand out. The orange obviously stands out a little more,
Right,
but either one of them stand out because that logo is so big on the front of the jersey. I
right.
used to have a Flyers jersey, and the logo is
Dude,
so big on the chest.
dude, used to you had 3 jerseys on here and like 2 hats and they're all gone. Seriously?
So I also used to have an Allen Iverson jersey, but let's put it this way: I had it in like high school. I outgrew it. Can't wear it. Actually, I probably still have it, so I can hang it up in the man cave. Let me get on camera. I probably still have it, so I can hang it up in the man cave. But I can't wear it anymore. Let's put it that way.
You could retire it and just hang it up, put it in,
It's exactly what I'm going to do.
yeah.
I also have the Jerry Stackhouse one too. Um,
Stackhouse.
you should see some of the. I got the Spud Webb jersey,
Okay.
Spud Webb Atlanta Hawks throwback. I got a George Brett. I got Gary Payton, Kevin Garnett rookie. Like I got quite a few.
Yeah, I told my wife I have a goal of getting one jersey from every professional sport. Starting with baseball, I want to get the Hall of Fame African American from every
Mm,
baseball team. And then she started like, oh well, what about who would you get on like the Montreal Expos? I'm like Andre Dawson. What about like your Kansas City Royals? I'm like Frank White. Like I started, because I'm the history buff, and she's like, they're not even real people. I'm like, I can show you
You know what's
that
crazy? You're
conversation.
such a baseball historian. Like you are definitely a baseball history buff. Way more than I am. I would probably I was probably more of a baseball history buff in the '90s than I am now. I'm
Gotcha.
more of a basketball history buff. I
Well, you know my feelings about basketball, but
yes, I know.
basketball, it's
But we're
just not
talking about the
watch
history now. History,
history.
you're all
Yeah,
right.
history about because '80s basketball was just off the chain. I'm sorry, the shorts were too short, but it was off the chain.
So let's get back to this Flyers jersey, and I'm trying to figure out why I have like some I hear something in my ear. It's like I don't know I don't know I don't know where it's coming. It's really weird. Like I'm picking up some type of signal. It's very faint, but I can hear it. No, it's not you.
Okay, is it speaking gibberish? Is it
No, it's speaking.
it's speaking words like or
I
speaking in
just figured
tongues?
out what it was. I got rid of it. I just figured out. So
Speaking
I
in
have my
tongues.
iPad connected to the board here, and
Ah,
I was checking out Clubhouse, and for some reason it was bleeding through, and I have it
okay.
turned down. Anyway, back to the Flyers jersey. I would go with the orange just
Orange,
because it stands out.
dude. 4 for 4. I love it.
It stands out.
Although
That's my favorite
I'm
uniform.
still kind of, I'm still, I always like the black jerseys. People like really poo poo the black jerseys. I actually like the black jerseys for the
I love
Eagles.
the black jersey. I love it.
I even like it when they wore the black jerseys with the green pants.
Yes,
I liked it with the green
yes,
pants. You know what I
yes.
mean?
I love the current uniform. I do. I love the Kelly Greens too. I
Right.
think that they should switch it up during the season sometimes.
Mhm.
But I
Well,
love we win the
Lori,
Super Bowl with the current uniform.
yeah, you're right.
Come
You're
on
right.
now. Come
To
on now.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Come on now.
All right, so I would do the exact same ones that you selected. Go green, Reggie White. Go Dr. J. Go with the
Gotta
powder
go with
blues.
Doc, man.
Gotta go with that.
Gotta go with Doc. Doc was the man.
Or there's another one. What's his name? Daryl Dawkins.
Daryl Dawkins was the man too.
Chocolate
Chocolate Thunder.
Thunder.
Chocolate
All
Thunder.
right.
Rest in peace. No, no. Did he die?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Rest
He
in
killed
peace.
him.
He died and Moses Malone died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
he died.
right. So now, I know you and me had talked a little bit about gaming, especially with MLB the Show online. So it kind of spawned a thing like, um, what if there were certain teams from the past? No, let me restate it. What
Oh, this is gonna
were
be fun. Let me take the mic out. It's gonna be
oh
fun.
Lord, what? So I'm thinking about like the greatest teams that ever won the World Series. You have your Yankees, you have your Red Sox recently. You have your St. Louis Cardinals, and kind of piggybacking off of. I think our first show we talked about the players that were injury prone. Like who would you have if who would you would want to have if they were not injury prone, what their careers would be like. So as far as teams, what were the best teams that never won a World Series? So there were four that I thought of, and one's kind of a wild card. So I'm thinking I'm gonna post the first one.
Chris said, "Am I alone in loving the orange? Because every other city hates gritty." No, no, I picked the
No.
orange. You're not alone.
So wait, let's go back to that real quick. Then put
I
that
love
back up.
gritty. I
So
hate
so
gritty, but I look like it's. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
go back to the jersey real quick, and then I'll segue to the other thing.
Okay.
So if you had to pick only one of those jerseys out of all the teams,
One out of
one
all
out of
of.
all of them,
I'm
one
going with
that's
I'm going with the Doc jersey.
really
Yeah. A couple reasons. I mean, blue's my favorite color. Doc is one of my favorite all-time Philadelphia athletes. Um, that's probably because that's probably that's probably due to my dad. My dad used to, always talk about Dr. J all the time.
you ever see a game at the Spectrum?
Yes,
It's a
yes.
loud place, boy.
I actually, I, one time we went to the Spectrum. I was young, obviously, but I got to take pictures with a couple of the guys, and one of the guys I got to take a picture with was Maurice Cheeks, and I actually still have the picture
Wow.
somewhere. Um,
You don't keep stuff.
no, it's like it's somewhere. Actually, I think. It might be in storage,
Oh
but
Lord.
um, I was kind of disappointed I didn't get to meet Dr. J though. Like I wanted to meet, like you a kid, you're a Sixers
Yeah,
fan. Doc's on the team. You want to meet Doc. Like I
yeah,
mean, Charles Barkley was on the team, and you wanted to meet Doc. I didn't get to meet Doc.
right.
So um, Chris
So
says a classic Jersey quality player.
yeah, absolutely right. I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Which one you going with if you had to
I
just pick one?
I
Maybe
I I
can I take a guess of what you
yeah.
would go
You already
with?
know what I'm gonna say.
I don't. I
Go ahead.
don't. Because I think it's between one of the Eagles jerseys and one of the Phillies jerseys.
It is. It is.
Is it the? It's either the black Eagles or the powder blue Phillies.
I'd lean towards powder blue because like black jerseys, like every team pretty much has a black jersey, so it may get lost. But like you see a powder blue jersey with a big P on it, it's like okay, I know where you're from
Right.
the fighting city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't wear like a Rocky shirt.
Oh God, no! I can't stand. I have so many issues with Rocky. Like the whole, you got a fictitious character who got his own statue, and then you got Joe Frazier who actually knocked out Muhammad. Let me stop. That's the episode.
Yeah,
Okay,
he beat
we're,
Muhammad Ali.
we're in the
He got
garden,
he got he got beat up by George Foreman though. But he did beat Muhammad Ali
and he
one out of three times.
broke his jaw too. All right,
Listen,
so
I actually was friends with one of Joe Frazier's kids
really,
and made both of those two rest in peace. He passed away. Yeah, that was I just made it weird, but just made it
oh
weird. Let's continue.
Lord,
So who was the best? Who was the best team to not win a World Series?
well, so what I'm trying to set up is if I can get this going. There we go. So I'm trying to think of not only the best teams that didn't win a World Series, but also the matchups. So I'm gonna start with one matchup. Okay. So go ahead and hit me.
All right. So your first matchup here is
The 1995 Cleveland Indians, now the Guardians, versus the 1994 Montreal Expos.
so that '94 Expos team was nasty. That was
They,
the strike year, right?
that was a strike year. So
That was the year
so
after the Phillies went to the World
year
Series.
after the Phillies win the World Series, there was a labor dispute. The owner said, "No, we're not going to pay you," and then the player said, "We're not going to accept anything less unless you pay us." And they played a shortened. What was it? So the Expos were 74-40. So what's that? 100 and
74 and 40. So
144
that's
games.
114 or
14 games.
104. I can't. I'm not that great at math.
14. 114.
114.
So strike shortened year. Montreal had the
They
best
got
record.
114 games in before the strike.
Yeah, because they stopped in like August.
You're right. They
So
did.
there was still a whole month
They
left, month and
did.
a half left.
And
Yep.
I remember telling my dad. So since the strike happened, and they came back in '95, I guess
95. 95 they played
the Phillies were
144.
still the National League champions.
Yeah, they were national champions for 2 years.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes, they
That
were.
puts it in a whole lot of perspective. It makes them not suck as much in the 90s. So 94 Montreal Expos, best team in baseball that year. They had the best record in all of baseball. They were 74-40. And then you have Cleveland who goes to the World Series, the first World Series post strike. So just to kind of compare, you put them side by side. So you got the 95 Cleveland Indians. They won their division by 30 games.
Damn. Wow.
30
I
games.
never realized they were that much better than the net. Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
So Montreal at the time,
Wait,
had the
they were the only team that was over 500. Look at that.
in
The
their division.
Cleveland
Yeah,
Indians.
Cleveland. Yeah.
They were
How
the only
about
team
that?
in their division that was only over 500. That's crazy.
How about that? So, long story short, Cleveland wound up losing the World Series to the Atlanta
And the
Braves.
Braves. Yeah.
I believe it was 4 games to 2, and it wasn't even like fair. Which if you look at the stats, you're like, how did they lose the World Series? They had Paul Sorrento, who had 25 home runs. Carlos Baerga got 15 home runs. Omar Vizquel, six. Oh, that's a good. But you had Jim Thome, who was a third baseman at the time. Albert Bell, 50-50 guy, 50 home runs, 50 doubles. A young Manny Ramirez with 31 home runs. Their pitching was okay. They had Dennis Martinez, Charles
Yeah, I was going to say
Nagy,
who was their pitcher?
Oral
Dennis
Hershiser. So you had two 16-game winners. Um, Jose Mesa was the closer. So
Martinez.
they had a pretty good bullpen.
They did.
But at the end of the day, when you're facing Glavin, Smoltz, Maddox, and Avery,
That's tough.
pitching beats good offense.
I mean, that's what the Phillies thought they were doing when they had the four aces, and
There
they
you
blew
go.
that one.
And then Montreal, which everybody always says they were robbed because they didn't even get a chance to compete. You know,
They were.
Not as much in the power department because you had Moises Alou with the most home runs with 22, but you had batting averages in the high 280s.
They
With
had
a
Larry
couple.
Walker on that team.
Larry Walker was on. They had a great defensive offensive
Oh,
team.
I thought I guess he wasn't on that. I thought
I think I know where you're going.
you absolutely know where I'm going. I thought Vlad was on that team.
I thought so too. I thought Vladimir and Henry. Remember Henry Rodriguez?
Yeah, he
I
wasn't
thought
on
they were
that
both
team.
on. I was like, that was after the fact. Because after this, Larry
Yeah, Doug
Walker left to go to
Mayhew.
Colorado. I think Marquise Grissom went to the Braves. Moises
Yes.
Alou went to San Francisco. So they lost, and Cliff Floyd, I think, went to the Marlins.
Will Cordero was on that team.
Yep.
Mike
So,
Lansing was on that team.
so
Wow, look at that.
four out of the eight fielders left almost a year after this season.
So who was the best out of these two? Who was the best team to not win? That's a
So
tough one.
and then then I'm thinking about the matchup. Like, put these two teams together, who you got? So imagine this is the 1994 World Series.
Can we put a coin in the meter real quick?
Oh Lord.
Something doesn't add up for me.
Uh oh.
How are the Braves 68 and 46 and the Royals in second place were 70 and 74?
You're
That
still
that's
you're still you're still in awe that there was no 500 teams other than.
no, but look, do the math real quick. So the Braves have just about 20 more wins than losses, right?
Mhm.
The Royals have four more losses than wins, but they have two more wins than the Braves did.
No, it's just 70.
That's very
No, it's
that's
the same
weird.
amount of games. It's unless that's a typo.
It's got to be a typo. It's got to be a typo because 70. No, I guess not because 70 and 70 would be no. That would be 144 games. 70 and
No, no,
70.
no, no, no. You know what? You know why you're messing up? Expos played less games. That's 94.
Oh, right.
Cleveland on the left
Okay.
played
Okay.
144.
Okay.
It's not
Right.
the
Right.
same
Right.
season. They're not. It's
Right.
not the same season.
Thank
They're
you.
both strike shortened seasons, but the 94 team played less games.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
Made me think on
Forgot
that one.
about
I'm like,
that.
I know the numbers are right because they
Yeah.
copy and paste real good. Um, so imagine this is the 1995 World Series or the 1994 World Series since there was no World Series in '94. Who you got?
So I know the Expos were really good, right? They were really good. Um, I didn't realize Cleveland was that doggone good.
Mhm.
Right? I knew they were good. I knew their roster was good. I feel like I knew their roster was good after the fact, though. Right? Like I knew they had a good team, but I feel
Mhm.
like when you think about it later on, like a young Manny Ramirez, like we
Right,
didn't know how good Manny was going to be.
right.
He was young. Um, they had Sandy Alomar on there.
Awesome catcher,
Um,
great
awesome
catcher,
catcher, but he was coming
and
off
Tony
injury.
Pena, who was the coolest catcher I thought.
Tony Pena was on that squad. Dave Winfield was on that squad. We knew what. Um,
Oh
Who was
yeah,
that?
that was the last team he played for. I forgot about that. And to kind of put it in
Ken
perspective,
Gray
like
was coach.
Cleveland would go on to another World Series 2 years later. So they went in '95 and '97.
So they lost to the Braves and to the Marlins.
Yeah, and the Marlins was kind of more heartbreaking because they were like 2 outs away from winning, and then Renteria comes in and hits the game-winning single off of Mace's
Darren Dalton, my guy, got his ring.
Dutch. He played 16 years in the big leagues, and he played 15 for the Phillies. Eisenreich was on that team too.
Eisenreich was on that team. You're right. He was. Quick story. I met when I was working at Comcast Sportsnet. My first day on the job, first night on the job, I should say. Um, you had to walk in, and then first day the guy at the door didn't know me, so I had to get somebody to come and get me.
Mhm.
Right. So while I'm waiting for somebody to come and get me, I'm in the lobby area, waiting area, whatever you want to call it. Darren Dalton walks in
Wow.
because he's doing. I guess it was a Philly. I don't know what was going on that night, but he walks in. Oh, we were in the World Series. It was the year after we won when we were playing the Yankees. So Darren Dalton walks in, and I'm like, yo, Darren Dalton was my favorite Philly. Like that was my guy, Darren
Right.
Dalton. And I'm looking right, and I'm like, I'm working, but I'm like, this is my first day. After I had been there for a couple years, like people
Right.
coming in, it didn't phase me, right? But
Right.
this was my first day, and I'm like, Darren Dalton just came in this door, and I'm in this same room waiting for the door to be opened with Darren Dalton. And I'm like, Darren Dalton, what's up? And he just turned to me and he goes, wow, what did he say? Whatever he said, it was just smooth and cool as you would
Mhm.
expect it to be. It was just like he said, I can't even remember what he said. Now I don't want to mess it up. But man, he was so cool, man.
Mhm.
He was such a cool dude. Like I kind of expect him to, I just assumed like maybe he didn't give a damn or whatever the case may be. But Darren Dalton, man, he was a real cool dude, man. To be able to, we talked for a hot minute until the person came and got us, but
Yeah, he seemed like he had that kind of yeah
that
that
laid back
scream. Yeah,
Cali boy type of feel to him,
not
man.
not quite Cole Hamels, and but a little bit
No,
of Chase Utley.
it was like he was living life on vacation. That's
Right.
that's how
I
that's how
got you.
cool he was.
Got you.
But in this game, are you asking me who wins this
Who who
series?
who who wins this series if they face each other? It's kind of obvious, but there's clues as to as to where you might want to lean.
I'm probably going with, and I just feel like that Montreal Expos team was a buzzsaw, but I remember them being so good. But I'm going with Cleveland. And it's weird to go with them because you saw them lose to World. They lost the World Series that year.
Yep.
But I'm going with Cleveland in this one because I just think Cleveland was that doggone good.
Gotcha. I think I lean towards the Expos for the simple fact that if you look at the ERAs, there's only one pitcher that's above 3. Everyone's like a solid 2, 3. But if you look at the Cleveland bullpen, it's like high threes. There's a couple of fours, a 5 in there. Although the bullpens are probably, I'd give an edge to Cleveland because they had Mesa. Remember Julian Tavares, and so I probably give them the edge. Although John Wetland was pretty good too. But
The whole doggone team was good.
I know. So I probably lean towards the Expos in 7 games because I think that's what it would take
It's just
to.
so tough because that Expos team just didn't have a chance. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
They
That
didn't
and
they
that's
didn't
always
have an opportunity.
the greatest what if, the greatest what
That
if. And,
probably is the greatest what if.
but it's a shame because
And it only lasted 1 year.
it only lasted 1 year because after that they went like 10 games under 500, then 30 games under 500. Then it was like so the two best teams were Montreal and the Yankees. So and you know what happened with the Yankees? They just increased and wound up winning 3 or 4 straight towards the end of the '90s. But Montreal just couldn't compete or wouldn't compete.
Mm.
You know. All right, so you got Cleveland winning what 4 games to
I
2?
guess I just want I guess I just want Cleveland to win it.
Because they're now the current Chicago Cubs.
I just feel like Cleveland should have won it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I mean, like I told you last week, a couple weeks ago, I used to love the Braves because all the guys that I like
I
played for
still
the
can't
Braves.
believe it.
I know
I rooted for the. When did I root for the? I rooted for the Braves for one game. No, I didn't root. When did I root for the Braves?
when they were playing the Yankees.
No, I was actually rooting for the Yankees in '96 because the Yankees hadn't won in so long, and there was that whole story with Joe Torre and his brother who was sick.
Yeah, I
Charlie
remember.
Hayes was on that team, so
And
you
and
know,
that's when I stopped liking Charlie Hayes after he caught that last out.
of course you would. Of
I
course you
stopped
would.
liking Charlie Hayes right then. I was like, I can't believe he caught the last out against the team I wanted to win.
Of course you
How
did.
dare he?
I think I rooted for them to win against Minnesota. No,
Braves?
I rooted for them to beat the Blue Jays. No, I didn't root for them because the Blue Jays won the second. I know I rooted for them briefly, and then I was like,
Well,
I'm
they
sick of them.
lost what two in a row. Then the Phillies lost, and then they beat
They beat
Cleveland.
Cleveland, and then they lost to the Yankees. And that's when I hated the Braves because I think Game One of the World Series they won like 14-1. Andrew Jones hit like a grand slam. He hit like three home runs. So I was like, I hated the Braves, but I was glad that the Yankees beat them.
It's kind of crazy how playoff games and World Series games especially can be so. All I don't know if there's a world. I'm sure we could look it up and find out. But to my knowledge, I have not. I don't remember seeing a World Series where there was not a blowout win in the series. And you're talking about the two best teams in baseball. And I don't want you to look it up because you could probably find 17 World Series where there wasn't a blowout win in
I
the
don't. Yeah,
series.
I don't know
But
that
I
there
feel
was a.
like every year there's a blowout win, at least in one game of the World Series. I just do.
If you remember, I remember the National League Championship Series with the Phillies. They were outscored like by almost 10, 15 runs and still won and still beat the Braves 4 games to 2. Because there was two games that you. I think the one game they lost 14-7, and there was another one they lost like 10-1. But then they won a
Yeah.
2-1 game and then a
Hmm.
4-3 game.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so
Now, and in that series, I believe there were some high scoring games in the World Series that year too.
highest scoring game, single game in World Series history was that. And of course, we lost because Mitch Williams was 15-14.
And listen, I can remember that year. That was a fun
It
year
was.
to be a baseball fan in
It
Philadelphia.
was. It
That was the
was.
year that they had the double header where the game went on to like 4 o'clock in the morning.
$4 in the morning. Yeah, they had two games that went like past 2 a.m. There was another 20 inning game that didn't finish till like 3:30
It was
because of
crazy.
rain delays.
And I
So
can
of course,
remember like falling asleep in my basement and like waking up like 3 o'clock in the morning. The game was still going on. Like it was a fun year. That was a fun year.
there were two games I remember specifically in '93. One of them was the throwback day where they wore like there was all white, it was all cream jerseys, cream helmet, everything. It was
Mm.
beautiful.
Oh,
And I
okay.
remember because Darren Dalton was set. Todd Pratt was the backup catcher. He had 2 home runs that game. And I remember that, and they actually have this entire game on YouTube. Um, Pete Incaviglia got hit with a ball. He swung, but he got hit, and he started to kind of walk towards the mound. And we're sitting at 600 low. We're like, yeah, kick his ass, blah, 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 eat his children, da 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 da. And you remember Pete Incaviglia wasn't nothing to mess with, right?
He's a big dude.
And I remember there was like a crowd, and I remember Jim Fregosi starting to go off because apparently the umpire had said foul ball that it hit off of his thing. And he's like, Incavillia's going like this. And I remember Jim Fregosi is standing there like this, trying to block the umpire from going back to home plate. And he's like, "You mother," and he's like backing up in his face. I just, and just the crowd just got hyped. We wound up winning the game like 8-6. I just remember, I remember that game, and then there was another game, a Sunday game. It was against the Giants. Kurt Schilling versus Barry Bonds, and I remember Barry Bonds torched the Phillies for 2 home runs. We lost 10-2,
We
and
struggled against the Giants
he
that year.
struggled against the Giants. And I remember saying that I'm like, if we got to face the Giants in the playoffs, we're done.
And you remember how I remember. I even remember where I was when I found out the Giants didn't win. But
Yeah.
it was a 4 game set. The Giants and I think it was the Braves
No, it was a
and
four. It was against the Giants were playing the Dodgers. That
okay, the Dodgers, and the
Dodgers,
Giants had never beaten the Dodgers in a 4 game set.
right?
And had they beaten Dodgers, we would have been playing the Giants in the playoffs, and we would have lost in the
We would
playoffs
have
because
lost
we
that.
could not. We struggled against the Giants that
Yeah.
year,
And I think
and
they were the first team in history at that time to win 100 games and not make the playoffs.
wow.
Because the Braves won 104 games that year, and the Giants won 102 and didn't make the playoffs.
Mm,
It's
mm.
crazy. All
Wow.
right, here's the second set. All right, so you got the Cleveland Indians, and I got the Expos in 7. All right, so here's the
I
next
wish the
set.
show had like historic teams and we could play that out.
What'd you say?
I wish the show, the video game, the show had historic teams so we could play that out.
They do.
Oh, they do. Do they have
So
those
what you
teams?
got to do, you got to look up the DLC. Like if you look up, you know how you download stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I found you gotta search for it. I had to download like 20 different rosters. There's like guys that like they live in their mother's basement and do nothing but rosters all day.
Yeah,
So
but
I
they make
found
some
the
good
one
content
what
for games.
yeah. I, I found the one roster that had they had the pitching rotations, they had the bench players pretty much on every all 30 teams. So that's I actually played one season with the Philly Legends, and they had Darren Dalton. They didn't have Peter, but they had like Scott Rowland. They had the legend Jimmy Rollins, the legend Scott Victorino, Shane Victorino, and they had like the Kurt Schillings, they had Roy Halladay, so they had the whole roster. So I'll send that to you. I'll see if you can download it on your end, and then we can probably set that up. Do a
Cool,
historic challenge.
cool. Let's do it.
All right, here's the next one.
All right, let's see what you got
The 2001 Seattle Mariners most wins in a season in the history of all of baseball, and the 1998 San Diego Padres. So
here. The
now,
2001.
so here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. When in 2001, you remember, that's the year the towers fell. The America was attacked.
Yeah,
Everybody remembers the Yankees and the Arizona Diamondbacks in that World Series went to Game 7,
right.
game-winning home runs in Game 4 and 5. Derek Jeter doing this thing, and they came up short. But everybody forgets this was the year that you had the Seattle Mariners, the most wins
Yeah, the
in
Mariners.
baseball
And
history.
they still had Junior.
Still had
They still
Junior,
had A Rod,
still had A Rod.
Jay Buhner, as you see right there, number 19.
He was on the tail end of his career. I think he had one good season right before that, and he just kind of shot down.
Did they have both of the Martinez? Ziz?
No, at this point,
One
Tino
of them
was
was on
gone.
the Yankees, right?
One Tino, the lefty, the first baseman was on the Yankees. Edgar Martinez, he retired with the Mariners. So
Okay, because
um,
I more so remember the team that beat the Yankees in the playoffs
that
than
was
I do
'95.
this. Right,
That was '95.
right. Um, but this team, I'm trying to think who they had. Well, you had. I'm sure you got the
Here we
roster.
go. Let's go to
Who was
this.
on the? But who was on? I was gonna say who was on the Padres that year. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember. Was I'm trying to think. Dude that ended up playing for the Astros.
Ken Caminetti. He's right there.
Ken
He's
Caminiti was on that team.
yeah. And
Um,
he started out with the Astros and then went to the Padres.
right.
Yeah.
And they had a pitcher. Anyway, let's go ahead. Go to the roster. Don't have me over here trying to figure it out when you got all the information right there.
All right. So to your left, you have the Seattle Mariners. 116 wins. They won their division by 14 games. The Oakland A's at the height of or the beginning of their trudge to analytics. Uh, Once again, winning lots of games, but not winning important ones. Um, so yeah, they had John Olerud, Brett Boone. Oh, they had Mike Cameron. I remember Mike Cameron. He was a good player. And there's your
Yeah.
boy Edgar Martinez at the spry old age of 38.
The Padres had Mark Sweeney on the team.
So this is why
Freddie
it was.
Garcia, that who? Okay. Didn't we have Freddie Garcia with the Phillies at one
We had
time?
Freddie Garcia
Amy Moyer was on that
the
team.
year before we won the World Series. He came
Tony
in, had 10 starts, and blew his arm out. And he was
Ichiro was
done.
on that team. Okay, Griffey wasn't on this team.
Yeah, he was in Cincinnati
He
at
was in
that point.
Cincinnati. Okay, yeah, Mike Cameron. Mike Cameron was a bopper. He could hit. I remember that. Edgar was on the team. Ichiro, Almar, David Bell, Carlos Guillen, Brett Boone, John Olerud was on that team. Dan Wilson was a decent catcher.
But if you
Uh,
look at the pitching, they had Jamie Moyer, the 20
yeah,
game
Jamie
winner,
Moyer. Jamie Moyer, the junk baller,
at 38 years old,
Joe
20 and
Pinero.
6.
Uh, Freddie Garcia was on that team. The closer was Kazuhiro Sasaki.
Yep. 45 saves. I
Arthur
remember
Rose
Arthur.
was on
I
that team
begged the
too.
Phillies to get Arthur Rose. I loved him.
They didn't listen to you, huh?
No, they don't listen to
They
that.
don't. They don't listen. Um. Okay, so who did the Padres have? Let me see. Let me see if I can remember any of these names. Kim. I already said Kim Cannon. I'm struggling.
Ken Caminetti.
Ken Caminiti, Tony
Greg,
Gwynn,
you remember Greg
Steve
Vaughn?
Greg Vaughn. Yeah, Mo Vaughn's
50,
brother.
50 home runs, 119 RBI.
Mo Vaughn, one of the most violent swings in baseball history, in my opinion. Him and my guy Vlad Guerrero,
Lottie.
very violent swings. Mark Sweeney was on that team. Andy Sheets, Ruben Rivera, Greg Myers, Jim Leyritz. I remember him.
So I think the pitcher you were thinking about, you were either thinking about Kevin Brown, who would become a Yankee later,
Kevin Brown. I think that
and then
is
Andy
Andy
Ashby, who's
Ashby.
yeah,
Andy
he's
Ashby
he's the one
started.
he's the one that's not built for
Trevor
Philadelphia.
Hoffman. That's who I was thinking of. Trevor Hoffman, the closer.
Gotcha. 53 saves that year.
Wow. Okay. So, who wins this game?
And again, so if you like, you had Cleveland with all the boppers who lost the World Series. You had Seattle who lost to the Yankees. They got, I believe they only won. They lost 4 games to one. It wasn't even competitive against the Yankees. So you had two teams that came up short. Now San Diego came up short too because they got swept, by the Yankees. So I mean, take a pick,
That's right.
but
That's the year San Diego went to the World Series.
this is the both of these teams. I'm sorry, San Diego went to the World Series. Seattle lost in ALCS to the Yankees.
So, like by process of elimination, like we really should say San Diego would win this because they got to the World Series
They
and
got to the World
Seattle
Series.
didn't. But I think Seattle wins this game. They just choked in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're
They had Ed
pitching
Sprague.
wise, they're a
They
little
had
better.
Ed Sprague. They had Ed Sprague on that team too. Utility Charles Gibson. I'm going with Seattle to beat San Diego. I don't even remember. Like I remember San Diego going. Like that was such
It
a
was.
good forgettable team.
It was. Only thing I remember about that team was Tony Gwynn hitting an upper deck home run in like the one of the games in the World Series. That's all I really remember. Other than that, it was like, you know,
Nothing.
dude, look at this stat. I always laugh at this. 460 at bats for Tony Gwynn, 18 strikeouts.
Wow.
18 strikeouts. That's unheard
I'd
of.
probably strike out 18 times if I had 20 at bats.
Yeah, that's 18 months, 18 Ks a month for myself.
Wow.
18 Ks.
He was an amazing hitter, man.
He was.
He was an amazing hitter.
Wally
Yeah,
Joyner wasn't
I'm
winning.
going with Seattle to win this one because I feel like San Diego was good, but they were just such a forgettable. Like that's I don't know why that team is so forgettable. I don't know why. I
I
can't
think because it was the height of the Yankees run. You
maybe
go
that may
into
have
like, it's the Yankees. And even Seattle, it's like we're playing the Yankees. It's like
well with Seattle. Yeah, there was some payback there for the Yankees. Yankees had to get him back for 95
right.
because the
So
Yankees were like the best team in baseball that year.
that yeah, for a couple of years.
Yeah,
So the wild card team I was thinking of was the 2011 Texas Rangers. So the 2010 and 2011 Texas Rangers went to the World Series in back-to-back years. They lost to the Giants in 10, and then they lost this year to the Cardinals in 7 games. And I believe in game 6 they were down to the last strike, and they were down to their last strike, I believe, in game 6 3 times, and each time they came through with a hit. And then it got to game 7, and I think even that came down to the last eighth inning. So it was pretty exciting World Series. But I am fond of those teams because they were managed by Ron Washington, who's like the biggest, the one of the best defensive gurus. He was the infield coach for the Oakland A's. So he got Eric Chavez and Miguel Batista their gold gloves. They were like the best infield in baseball for almost all of the 2000s. And then he's actually the defensive coach for the Atlanta Braves right now.
he is.
So that's why they have such a great defense. Hello. I don't have them against any team, but I'm thinking, you know, with
That was
this
a good team
team,
though. 2000.
huh?
Like, they had a good squad in
They had a
2011.
good squad
I
too.
thought they should have won. Actually, they should have won. There's no.
Mike Napoli,
Your Victoriaba, Mitch Moreland, Ian Kinsler, Elvis Andrews, Adrian Beltre, Josh Hamilton, Andy Chavez, Nelson Cruz, Michael Young. Coming off the bench, they had you guys can see that. Their pitching wasn't the greatest though.
it wasn't.
Pitching wasn't the greatest. Maybe that's where
I think that, yeah, that's where they definitely faltered in
that's what failed them there. The
yeah.
pitching wasn't the greatest. Hey, there's your boy Arthur Rhodes,
I-
41 years old.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, the pitching wasn't the greatest, but they had a squad. I felt like they had the bats to do it. They had the bats in
Right.
the defense. The pitching probably let them down.
So then the question here is, as a wild card team, which team would the Rangers beat out of the teams that were presented?
Out of all the teams that were presented,
Yes.
they would have beaten the. I want to say they beat the Padres. Like I don't know why I just like don't like the
You
Padres.
do not like the Padres
I don't know
tonight.
why. I have no reason to not like the Padres, but I just don't like the Padres. I can't remember ever rooting for the Padres outside of like Tony Gwynn. I liked
I think
what
it's
was it, Ashby? I liked Ashby.
I hated. I've always hated Ashby, even when he was a rookie for the Phillies. I just always I just I
I mean,
compare
I
him.
even like what's the guy plays for him now? Um Junior.
Tatis.
Tatis. I like Tatis,
Well, I
but I
mean,
can't
yeah,
I just do not ever find myself hoping the Padres win.
it's the jerseys. I think the brown, the chocolate brown and the mustard.
It's kind of weird to name your baseball team the Fathers.
Yeah,
Like it's kind of strange, but you know.
yeah, walking around with rosary beads. So which team do the Rangers beat? You said
They beat
San
the
Diego.
Padres.
I say they beat the Expos.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though you had the Expos beating the Indians in that
Yeah, it's kind
series?
of a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Not really. I mean, they could have beat the Indians and still lost to the Rangers. But I think they beat the Padres. um,
Because I'm thinking about their pitching staff. Like their pitching staff, not. I mean, they had two 16-game winners, two 14-game winners. So
they beat the Expo. I mean, those are two teams with good bats, right? That's a bad. Like for the person that is not the baseball fan, you're not the traditional baseball fan, the everyday fan.
mhm,
This game between the 2011 Rangers and the 95 Expos would be the game to watch for you because it would
not
be
even.
it would be it would be action. It would be there.
Yeah,
You probably, I mean, you might get a pitcher's duel, but both lineups were strong.
yeah.
Um, I think I can say they might beat the Expos.
I
Just
think so.
because that lineup, where's the weakness in the lineup for the Rangers? Where's the weak spot?
Uh,
They don't really have one.
Andy Chavez. No, he batted 300.
They don't have a weak spot. I mean, Adrian Beltre, dangerous hitter. What he hit 296,
Mm-hmm.
two
Yeah,
ninety six. Josh Hamilton 298. You had Ian Kinsler 255, and he got hurt, but Ian Kinsler could hurt you.
yeah,
A DH batting over 300.
it's
they had
crazy.
that lineup was strong, man. That
Yeah,
lineup was.
yeah. I might give them the slight edge over the Expos.
I might do that too. I might have to agree with you on that one. Ooh, excuse me. I might have to agree with you. And they had Arthur Rhodes.
And they had Arthur Rose. My man Arthur Rose, man.
So there's some good ones you put together there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's that time, and
It's
we
that time.
got. I got to make this one quick because we want to
Yes.
keep it under an hour. So let me see. I forgot all about this part of it. Okay, Hall of Fame, MVP, Rookie of the Year, 8-time All Star, Home Run Derby champ, 4-time Silver Slugger, 8-time Gold Glove. Number 24 for the Cubs. Is that the Cubs? Number 24
No,
and 10. Who is that? What team is that?
that would be the Montreal Expos.
Oh shoot!
Eight was with the Cubs.
I gotta think about who we talked about last week too. You tend to
10,
do that.
10, 10 was with the Red Sox, and 8 was with the Florida Marlins.
MVP, Rookie of the Year.
Only clue I'll give you is that his name was mentioned once during our show.
Today,
Yes.
Manny Ramirez. No, Manny never played for the. Manny never played
Although
for the.
Manny Ramirez did wear number
Marlins.
24, but he's not the one.
Yeah, he never played for the Marlins. You said that's the. Who'd you say those teams were?
Montreal, Chicago, Cubs, um, Boston Red Sox, and Florida Marlins. He played. So here it is. He played 20 years.
Derby champ.
17 of those seasons, he hit double-digit home runs.
He was an MVP. I feel like I should know. Like I feel like it's like I feel like this one is like obvious, and I'm looking at the time. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to guess it before the 60 minute. But I don't care. Like we're just going to have to go over the time
So
because this one I want to like. I feel like I should. I feel like this one is like. I feel like you're teasing me with this one. You're trolling me
he
with this one.
he was a Philly killer.
Give me the teams again. Give me the teams in order as they are up there.
All right, from left to right, Montreal, 24 and 10. 8 was with the Cubs.
Okay, so Montreal he wore 24 and number 10. Okay,
Yeah,
number
24 I
8
think
is
was
the
like his
Cubs.
first number when he came up for like a month or two. Then he got number 10. But
Okay, he's
10 is a number like, yeah. So
Vlad never played for the Marlins.
correct.
Never played for the Reds. You said the Red Sox is
Red
the number
Sox.
10, right?
Mhm.
Never played for the Cubs either. So Vlad, he's out.
That is that.
Mo Vaughn never played for those teams. You said he was mentioned once during the show, and was he mentioned? Was when he was mentioned during the Expos segment?
You're getting warm, yeah.
Who was on the Expos team again? I can't. Now I'm blanking on everything.
So here's the thing.
Help me out, people. If you're watching, help me out if you know
He
who
was
it
he
is.
was he was mentioned during the show as being a member of the Expos, but not a member of that 94 team.
So Vlad, we mentioned Vlad, but we know Vlad didn't play for some of those other teams.
Not 94. I believe in 94 he was playing for either the Red Sox or the Marlins at that point on the tail end of his career.
It's just that Marlins thing that's throwing me off because I keep wanting to think who was on the Marlins when I should probably be thinking who was on the Red Sox. Never, and he didn't win the World Series.
No, he did not win a World Series. Matter of fact, the last team he played for was with the Marlins, and he retired the year before they won the World Series.
Before they won the first World Series or the second World Series?
The first one. He retired in 96. They won it in 97. He was 42 years old. He was 41 years old when he retired.
The Orioles aren't up there, so it's not Eddie Murray.
Good guess. You got 4 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get it, and I can't even end the show that fast. Um,
He said, "Screw it."
I'm so mad. Like I'm so mad
Okay,
with this.
his nickname.
Oh, now I'm probably gonna get it now, like right away, and I'm gonna
Do
be
you want his
mad.
nickname?
Not yet.
Okay,
What position did he play?
outfield.
Oh, jeez. outfield, outfield. Cubs, Expos, and I'm still hearing that like radio voice in my head, in my headphones. Um, Cubs,
So
Expos.
he was on the very first Expos playoff team because the Expos did actually play in the playoffs for
I,
1 year, a
I
strike
don't
shortened year, man.
remember that. I
What'd you
don't
say?
remember that. I don't even remember the Expos being in the playoffs. To be honest with you.
That was 2 years after I was born, so I guess you wouldn't remember.
Yeah. See, you're the historian there. Oh man, come on, people, help me out. Help me out, people. Nobody wants to help me. I want to get this so bad, and I just feel like I'm having a brain fart right now.
You are. So if there's any comments on
No, there's not.
nothing on YouTube?
No. They're just watching me suffer in silence. Oh my goodness. I, see,
So his nickname. I'm not going to tell you the nickname. Was comparable to a type of bird.
God darn it.
Oh, oh that was the big. That's the biggest clue I can give you.
God darn it. How did I not guess uh the Hawk?
A hawk, Andre Dawson, baby.
Andre Dawson. How did I not guess Andre Dawson?
Andre, yo, you want to talk?
He is, outside of Ernie Banks, like to me, he's like Mr. Cub.
Yeah, and that
And
year
I've
he won the MVP with the Chicago Cubs. I think he hit 8 home runs against the Phillies in that year alone.
and I remember going to see, I think going to see a Phillies game, and they were playing the Cubs when Andre Dawson was playing for the Cubs.
Yeah, you want to talk about me? He was a player like I can't even look directly at him now. You see how scary he looks?
Yeah, he's got a scowl there.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he had really bad knees by the time he got to the Cubs because he played I think 9 or 10 years in Montreal on turf. So his knees were like shot by the time he got to the Cubs.
That's right.
So
Turf back then isn't what it is now.
no, it was literally carpet and then concrete, nothing in between.
Right.
And I played at the vet in '93 for baseball and I played in '94 for football. Not a pleasant experience at all.
No.
No. I played police athletic league for Alney and we made it to the championship and we played in August of '93. The only thing I ever remember about it besides winning was the heat.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
you know how they had that little temperature thing? It was on the end of the dugout. Game time temperature, I think we started at 1 o'clock. It was 127 degrees on the field.
Wow.
That turf was hot. It was no
Wow.
joke. It was no joke.
Wow. There's nothing compared to the turf today.
Oh, nothing.
Turf today is
You can sleep. You
vacation.
can sleep on that, John. Now
Yeah, you can. You can.
after getting all the pebbles out your mouth, but
How did I not think of Andre Dawson? I'm going to be mad. It's going to.
dude, you know what you need to do? You need to go on YouTube and just start watching old games. Just like look up players. Look up Ken Caminetti and just watch highlights and watch games that he's played in. And then you'll be like, I remember that player. Oh, I remember that. Oh, that player sucked.
You know what's crazy though? I vaguely remember Andre Dawson with the Marlins, and probably because it's American League and we're in a National League city, I don't remember him with the Red Sox at all.
Yeah, I think he was actually injured for most of his run because once he was done with the Cubs, it was pretty much, it's like that player, you know, I got one more in me. I know I'm not done yet. So he kind of It was kind of like Eddie Murray the last couple of years. Like it's like, all right, we get it. You're a Hall of Famer. It's like he was the Jason Peters of you know baseball back then.
Didn't Jason Peters get hurt on Sunday night too?
Yeah, he had his annual or his weekly collapse. I can't play. I'm torn up, and then I'll be back next week and play 2.5 quarters. I don't think he's
Yeah,
played a full game since
it's been a while.
6 weeks before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's been a while. And if you know what's crazy, so and I listened to a local radio show here in Philadelphia, morning show, and one of the hosts, actually had some friends in Chicago, and they asked him, what should we expect from Jason Peters? And his answer to them was about 2.5 quarters.
There you go. That's awesome.
That
That
was
I,
that was the thing, about 2.5 quarters.
that's some players they have a reputation and they keep it well.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he's a good player. I mean, he's one of them guys that he can still play
Yeah.
good enough
Well,
for some people
no,
to pick him up and start him,
no. He
but he's
can't
not.
play. He can't play.
No, I wouldn't say
No,
that. He
he
can't
can't.
stay healthy. But did you
He's,
see some of them blocks he had the other night?
and
He can
and
still play.
he had some of those blocks with us too. But when you can't play a full game, I'm sorry, you can't play.
He can't stay healthy. He has the skills to still play. He just doesn't have the body to stay healthy.
He's done.
Oh yeah, well, injury, yeah, body wise, he's done.
He's
I
done.
mean, but it's hard to let go. It's hard to let that
Toast.
go. Well, with all that being said, we want to thank everybody for checking us out here on the Check Swing Podcast. That is Miguel Santa. I am Jay Watson Radio Man. You can see it right there. Jay Watson Radio Man. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow him on Facebook, Insta. Well, I don't even know if he wants to be followed. So,
You can follow me. It's fine.
all right. Well,
That's that
follow him at msanta1074.
6.
Six. I was going to say
No,
six.
you weren't.
I was. You heard me say 1070.
You were like
1076.
1070 salmon.
Make sure you follow us, and make sure you follow New to Us Radio, and you make sure you subscribe to the New to Us Radio YouTube channel. We appreciate y'all that have already done so, and make sure you check us out every Wednesday here on the Check Swing Podcast. And I haven't found anything clever to finish off the show with to say anything at the end, but yeah.
Peace, love, and harmony.
There you go. Peace, love, and hair grease.
There you go.
We'll talk to y'all next time. We out of here. Peace.